We need you to show up in the world with your full potential, okay? We need you to show up in the world with your full potential. And here's how. So let's talk about it. How do we get you to maximize your potential? How do we get you to reach the full extent of your skills and abilities? Potential. First, let's set a baseline and let's talk about exactly what potential is so that when we communicate, we're on the same base. We know what we're talking about, okay? Because potential to me is a balance between talent and character. You have to have both at play in order to reach your full capacity, right? Like you can have loads and loads of talent. However, when those opportunities come and those doors open and you get into those bigger rooms, you're not going to have the character that it takes to keep you there. Gotta have both at play, both talent and character. Whereas if we look at it on the flip side and you have the character, you're going to have to work. You have the character, but you don't have the talent. You're going to have to work 5, maybe even 10 times harder than average in order to reach that full potential. Now, I know some of you didn't, but a lot of us grew up hearing you're going to have to work twice as hard to have half as much. That applies in this case. When you don't really have the talent, and your talent isn't as sharp, but you've got the good character. So when those opportunities come and those doors open, you're not only going to be able to exercise the talent because you've honed the skill, but you're going to be able to maintain. And that's what it takes to maximize your full potential. To me, that's what potential is, and it is ever evolving. It is ever evolving because your interests ever evolve. You as a person ever evolve. You could be very talented in one area in your teens and your 20s, but then when you hit your 30s and your 40s, something else kicks in and your potential begins to rise in a different area. That's evolving as a human being. That's bringing your best to the world because we were all put here to serve. There is something deep within us that we are to discover what it is and ensure that we bless the world with whatever that is, with whatever we have potential in. We are to bless the world with it. So it is up to you. You're the only person that's with yourself all 365 days of the year. You're the one that's got to dig down deep within yourself, okay? You got to be self-aware. You have to be able to go within and be honest with yourself about what your hopes and dreams are. What has the path of your life showed you? A lot of us aren't in tune enough to see the seasons in our life, not the seasons in the world, right? We can use those definitions, but what are our own personal seasons throughout the year? What is our spring, our fall, our winter, our summer? If you pay attention to your life, and journaling helps with that. I like to make things practical because people like to tell us what to do, but they don't give us the how. And there's a how. Journaling is a how. If you journal every day, don't clean it up, don't edit it, don't try and make it sound correctly, don't worry about hurting anybody else's feelings. This is between you and your higher power. Journal. And you will begin to see patterns in your journaling year after year. In there, you can recognize the seasons of your life. When you become self-aware to that level, you can maximize your potential. Remember what we were saying. We said potential is the balance between talent and character. You have to have both in order to reach your full capacity, right? Let's talk about the top 3 ways that talent does not get realized. The top 3 ways talent does not get realized. And the first one, fear. Different things we have been through throughout the course of our life has developed the feeling within us called fear. It is an emotion that stops people in their tracks. It stops us, let's be honest and transparent. It stops us in our tracks. But we have to learn to feel fear and do it anyway. We have to learn to disempower whatever it was that gave fear its growth. I have a friend, okay? Let's talk about this chick for a second. This chick was in a car accident. Doozy of a car accident, not taking nothing from it. She got hit by a Mack truck, right? She got hit in the side. The car was hit sideways. It wasn't head on. The car got hit sideways by a Mack truck. She had to go through surgery, intense therapy. But that was 15 years ago. And she is still not driving because of her fear. My girl is still driving Miss Daisy. God bless her husband, because he drives her everywhere she goes. Yes, they get up twice as early for him to drive her to work on the other side of town, come back on this side of town for him to work his job, and then in the evening, he goes back across town to pick her up. Everywhere she goes, she is driven. Her sister, her husband, her friends. She has never touched a steering wheel since that car accident. But I am here to challenge you not to fall within that. You have to feel fear and do it anyway. It's not impossible. You just gotta bite the bullet and do it. Okay? Let's say you sing very well. Let's say you have great character and you sing very well, but you don't sing great, right? You're not Whitney Houston singing. You can't sing quite yet, but you can sing. And you got up in front of one crowd and bombed. Flat notes, couldn't remember the words, whatever it was, doesn't matter. Get back into the studio. Hone your skill. Do not forsake the honing of your skill. You have to hone. By hone, we mean sharpen. We mean practice. We mean get in there day after day and do it again and again and again. See the improvement in yourself. Launch the honing of your skill. Get back up on stage and sing the song you practiced. Feel it from the inside out. And I promise you, you hone that skill, your potential will be reached and your greatness will shine from within. Now that's the first one. We're talking about 3 things that stops you from reaching your full potential. That's number 1, fear. Here's number 2. We don't believe in ourselves. People can compliment us to the highest hill and back. We will say thank you. We will say gracious. We will shake hands and give hugs. But way deep down inside, we do not believe in ourselves. Once it clicks for you and you recognize what your gift, what your skill, what your potential is in, and you hone your skill, you still have to hone the belief in yourself. Nobody else can give that to you. And I'm not talking about what compliments build up or what people tell you or who's sitting in the crowd when you do it or who buys your art or who shows you support. Absent of all of that, you still have to believe in yourself. It's got to be there for you. The world can believe in you. Buy your records, buy your art, show up at your concerts, support you when you're at your track meets. Doesn't matter. The world can support you, but if you do not have that seed, that belief within yourself, it's not going to work. Because doubt will creep in. And when doubt creeps in as a seed and begins to grow as a plant, something will happen and you will begin to self-sabotage. We can't let that happen because the world needs what you have. The world has to have what you give. I don't know about you guys, but every time there's this major disappointment in the world, and I don't want to put a tag on it because I don't want to conjure anything up right now. Anytime there's this major disappointment in the world, there's a part of me that feels responsible because I'm not showing up in the world the way I'm supposed to. Like you, I'm sure. I have been told throughout my life, You've got great potential. You're not working up to your potential. And that's how I feel about us when things happen in the world. If we were pouring out all of the goodness that we have within us into the world, we could have a positive effect. And that positive effect would be shown in ripples that would begin. You've seen it. You've seen one good action in the neighborhood, in the school. You've seen one good action have a ripple effect that has a positive effect on everything that it touches and everything around it. You've seen it. That's you. We need you giving us your best. So you've got to have that belief in yourself. You have to be grounded in knowing what you know. Okay? That's number 2, belief in yourself. We're talking about the top 3 ways people do not reach their full potential. Number 3, you have to have a strong foundation in your faith. What do you hold on to when everything else is falling apart? And this isn't about a deity. I don't care who or what you believe in. All of the great religions of the world believe in being good to one another. And one another also includes you. You have to be good to yourself. You have to be able, here it is. You have to be able to hold on to what's real over what you feel. You gotta be able to hold on to what's real over what you feel. If you walk into a room and people start laughing, does that bother you? Does that begin to chip away at your self-esteem? If you're performing, if you're on stage, you're a singer, you're performing, and this group over in the corner starts to snicker and laugh, does that bother you? Does that chip away at your self-esteem? What do you hold on to when everything else is falling apart? Because truth be told, that's not real. That's just what you're feeling, and your feeling is taking over what you're thinking. That's just what you feel. That they could be cracking a joke about something that they're seeing on social media. When you walked into the room, somebody else could have just told the joke, and it's just timing. You just walked in at that time. And it has nothing to do with you. You can't allow the environment that you're in to chip away at the greatness that you have within. You got to hold on to something. Whatever that faith is, whatever that belief in yourself is, however it is that you turn fear into faith, how you overcome fear and you don't live behind the filter of your fear, you can come out from behind it, you can overcome it. You can squash fear because you know you're going to feel fear and do it anyway. It's a nervousness. There's another word that you can use instead of fear. When you get to the point of getting ready to execute whatever it is your potential is in, tell yourself that's just nervousness. That's not fear. Talk to yourself. I'm going to feel fear and do it anyway. Because we need the great potential that you have within you. We need you out in the world. You scroll any newspaper, you go through any of these media outlets, you will see all the greatness that you need to combat. Once you figure out what your potential is in, how are you going to show up in the world?